Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, welcome. My name is Will, I'm the Executive Director at Lighthouse. Welcome to this very special event. This is arguably one of the hottest moments, if not the hottest moment of the festival, the climax. We are about to start, so please take your seat and enjoy in conversation with Tony Shalhoub. Thank you.
Mr. Monk, would you mind standing up and turning around? Could you describe my shirt?
Which one?
Which one?
The shirt you're wearing or the shirt your stenographer is wearing?
Well, that was the shortest reel for the longest career. Hi. Thank you. No, take your seats. It's too much, please. Stop. Save some for Tony. This is a treat for me. I know this gentleman for a very long time, but this will probably be the longest conversation we have ever had, where I get to ask him all kinds of things I'd be embarrassed to ask him otherwise. You've seen, if you were here for Big Night, you've seen the quality of the work. I'm sure you wouldn't be here if you didn't know what this man can do. He has built a career making my career look paltry. That's been his. Just so you understand who we're dealing with, this is a career that spans 40 years, right? That's no small thing. In every medium we can name, including voiceover and recordings and all other kinds of things. I'm going to try and remember this. He has 5 Emmy Awards. He has 6 Screen Actor Guild Awards called the Actor. He has a Tony Award, he has a Golden Globe Award, and he was nominated for a Grammy. I don't know who beat him out, maybe, you know, Whitney Houston. I have no idea who it could be. He is one of the most highly decorated actors that I know. And he's it's so interesting because when you know Tony, the most unassuming, just a guy, just a sweet, lovely family guy, does his job, no big hoopla, right? And he's one of the most highly accomplished and decorated actors that I know, artists that I know. So I think you're in for a treat. Let's bring him out and have a conversation. Meet Tony Shalhoub. So to prepare for our conversation, I Wikipedia'd Tony, and I asked him something last night, and I said, you fell off of a balcony and like had brain damage and couldn't taste or smell for a year, and he went, never happened. So I don't know if any of this is going to be true, Tony, but
yeah, half of what's on my Wikipedia thing is inaccurate, just for the record.
It is Shalhoub, though, right? I mean,
that's right. Yes.
So a lot of what I want to ask about, that I want to focus on, and then we'll turn the microphones over to you guys, and you can ask your own questions later. But I'm interested in people's journeys and how they kind of got to where they're going. So you're one of 9 siblings, is that true?
Well, I'm one of 10 children.
One of 10 children, okay. So you have 9 siblings, and grew up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And was anyone in your family remotely in our business in any way growing up?
More than remotely.
Oh.
One of my older sisters preceded me. She was the one who was, went hacking through the brush with the machete before me, paved the way. My parents, my father especially, was not thrilled with her choice, but she went off to school when she was 18, went to the Pittsburgh Playhouse, and then you've seen her, she's been doing lots of things her whole life. She was actually on Stranger Things for a number of years. She was the sheriff's secretary, name is Susan. She's amazing talent, does a lot of theater, lives in Atlanta. So by the time I'm the second youngest of 10. So by the time I was coming up, my parents were like so bored with child rearing, and it was like, whatever, do whatever you want. Just get a job, or just cook for yourself. So then I had a little bit of easier time, just pursuing that career.
But your sister is like number 1, number 2 on the call.
She's number 4, so she's
number
about
4.
10. Yeah.
Okay.
She's 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, still working, still going, still loves it. She just sent me on my email today, she just went, "What do you think of my new headshots?" I was like, "Great, come on, keep going."
'Cause we all know that's how we get jobs. So what was the first, like, was it school theater? Did you have to do it? I mean, I assume you weren't doing any of this, and then one day they put you in a position and said, "Hey, kid, you're in a production."
Exactly right. In fact, that same sister, my sister Susan, was in high school. She went to all girls school, and they were doing King and I, and they needed kids. They needed little kids, so they were probably told, wrangle your younger brothers and sisters. And I don't remember being asked if I wanted to do it. I was recruited, you might say. And one day, I'm 6 years old, and I my mother's sewing my costume, and I was in this operetta, and just a quick story. I've told this story before in interviews, but I'll tell it because you may not know it. So this is, I think, the thing that triggered my long and crazy journey. It's dress rehearsal of King and I. There's a musical number that ends the first act. All the children are on stage, and we're in a circle around Miss Anna or whatever. And the song ends, the act ends, the curtain comes down, and I'm in the furthest downstage position. That's the one closest to the audience. And the curtain comes down, and I'm the only one on the outside of the curtain. That's the exact reaction to all of the people at the dress rehearsal. And of course, I burst into tears because I, trying to find my way through it. Couldn't find the slit in the curtain. I'm 6 years old, but somewhere in the back, in the deepest recesses of my brain, it was like, gotta laugh there. So maybe the hook was set in that moment, even though it was humiliating. But it's been one humiliation after another for 45 years.
But so was it the fact that it was? Did laughter register for you? Was that something you were happy to be part of?
Well, it was. And because, as I said, I'm the second youngest of 10. And so, it was a household, it was a great, growing up was great. It was chaotic, and loud. It was fucking loud. And, but also it was, laughter was kind of at a premium. You always had a built-in audience, which was great. If you could make 1 or 2 or 8 laugh, or anyone, and they were funny. They're still funny. They're the funniest people I know. But and I used to remember. I remember when I was young, maybe like 8 or 9, my older brothers they would always try to get me to do impersonations. Like they'd sort of show me, like, it sort of sounds like this, or do whatever it was, to do this politician or this actor. And I didn't know better, so I just did what I was told, but in doing so, they would react to me, and it was like I said, we were trying to all entertain each other. There wasn't a lot going on. I don't think we had a television until I was 11 or 12. I swear to God.
Wow.
Yeah. So some of my siblings were musicians, so there was a lot of music, and there was, we were all trying to, keep each other sane and entertained.
I could be really wrong about this, but my impression of you as a kid or a young man, it's part of what is so intriguing about your comedic style, is you seem to me to be a guy who's relatively quiet, not really looking for the limelight. Certainly, I would not imagine you as the class clown. You would seem to me to be kind of a studious, serious guy. I don't mean that in a overly serious way, but not looking necessarily to be the center of attention. And yet that is so different from the path that most of those kids take.
Right.
So what do you remember, I mean, other than that moment where the curtain fell behind you, as you started doing, I assume, what was be school theater or community theater, what was the thing that was exciting you about all of it? Was it the attention? Was it something about the building a character? Was that, what, I guess I'm saying, what called to you about this?
I think early on, like when I was a kid and I was getting sort of thrown into these plays, and then maybe in high school, I think it was the attention, the sort of the focus you would get. In other words, because in my household, our household growing up, you were kind of, I'm contradicting myself. In one sense, you had to build an audience, but it was hard to get noticed. It was hard to get like, I'm over here, because you could get lost in the shuffle. And I think it was particularly hard for the middle children, there were actually 4 girls in the middle. And it was hard for them because they weren't the oldest, so they weren't running the show, but they weren't getting the attention the younger ones were needing. They were just kind of like, they were only the sort of star or the baby for a brief moment.
Right.
Boom. And then it was another one and another one and another. Imagine the amount of therapy these people have had. It's crazy. No, I don't know. I think you asked, like, what was it that I got?
Well, I'll give you for instance. For me, I was a really introverted, shy kid. I was bullied a lot. I was heavy. I was small, and I did not enjoy being the center of attention. It was hard for me to join in. But suddenly, I was being the center of attention, but not me. I was hiding in plain sight. The permission of being a character gave me a freedom and a way to participate that I couldn't summon the courage to do on my own.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing. People get called to it. You experience it as a young person, and something about it sings to you, and it's different from different people. And I'm just wondering what. That
yeah, and in my youth, I mean, look, I didn't start out like at 9 years old, like I'm going to be an actor. We did a lot of. I liked sports, and I liked hanging out, and I liked all of the things that kids do. I love playing outside, but this was just one other fun sort of. I don't know, call it a hobby or a preoccupation or just something to do when you weren't doing 15 other things, right? And, you got a little pat on the back for it. And, I wasn't a terrible student. In my grade school years, I was a pretty good student, actually. As I got a little older, I started to drift off so I wasn't getting a lot of pats on the back for that. And I was an average or below average athlete. I got my butt kicked in football, in school. Terrible idea. I loved it, and I wanted to do it, and I was outclassed by a long shot. And so I was like, well, those things aren't panning out the way I'm not. And the astronaut idea, that's not going to work.
It's a lot of math. It's a lot.
Too much math. God, I hate that math. And so, that thing that you just kind of gravitated to because, and you got to meet girls and all that. And so it just sort of grew very slowly. in those early years, high school years.
Was there a moment where you're doing it and all of a sudden, because you went to college, yes?
Yes, I went.
And did you go as an arts or a theater arts?
I went to college not, I didn't really declare my major until my junior year. And you know, the thing is, I didn't go to college to be an actor. I went to a liberal arts school because, you know, my father said, you can go to college or you can get a job. Take your pick. I mean, they weren't that interested in our academics or any of it, really. Right. I'm going to stop feeding you at certain points, so figure it out. I understand there's a cafeteria at that school, so you know, they were like, do it, whatever it is, just figure it.
Right.
So I went to college because I didn't want to get a job. That's a terrible thing to say. But, and then when I was in college, I started to, because I had done a little in high school, I was like, oh man, maybe I'll do an acting class. It's a easy A, you know. Right. Or I'll get in a play or something, just to, whatever. And that started to snowball a bit. And I found myself getting opportunities to do more, you know, challenging things. And so, but it wasn't really until my junior year that I thought, I'm going to just do this.
Well, that's what I wanted to add. So, you know, for most actors that I talk to, there is either a moment, a production, a teacher or mentor where once that experience hits, you go, I think that's where I'm going to set course. Was there a moment where
I would say there were about 25 of those for me. Really, but because for me, I'm a slow learner. I'm slow on the uptake. But I do know what you're saying. There are certain teachers and certain moments and certain, you know, when it also, it isn't so much, for me, it wasn't so much doing it, although that was fun and inspiring, but watching other people do it. I remember being in college, my freshman year, I think, and a professional theater company. I think they came from the Guthrie, from Minneapolis. Either the Guthrie or the Milwaukee Rep, one of the other, doesn't matter. Because you know, we didn't have professional theater in Green Bay, which is, I mean, there was community theater, but we were in college. We was taking an acting class, and they said, hey, there's a production of such and such by, I didn't know what a rep company was. I didn't actually know that there was a professional theater company, of, you know, a set company. And these guys came and did a production of Every Man, I think it was. And I was just knocked out. Because these are like grown-ups. They're not students. They're adult doing this for a job. And I thought, wow, who knew that was a thing? I mean, I knew about people on TV and movies and whatever, sort of vaguely, but to be a theater actor and have that be a regular job, that was such a brand new notion to me. And I think so it was seeing those people who were devoted and trained and all in like that, you know. That really struck me. I remember those moments.
And so when that happens and you go, oh, I think I want to do this. So I remember the moment for me, because I grew up here in Jersey, in northern Jersey, and I was lucky enough to go to... Yeah. Calm down. Yes, Livingston. Calm down. That was a lovely time. But because of my proximity to New York, I was able to go with all the theater kids, and we'd go see Broadway shows all the time. And I remember I was 12 or 13, and Pippin was in previews, and Ben Vereen came out on the stage, and I went, I want to do that. I want to be him, right? And so from that moment on, my fantasy of a life as an actor was all about, can I get across the river and get into one of those 40 stages? Can I somehow do that? Didn't think about TV, didn't think about film, wasn't interested. Was that, did suddenly a Northern Star go, I got to get into the theater?
Sure. I mean, that's all I I loved it, and I loved going to the theater. And I like movies too, but that was like, those guys are on a different planet.
Right.
I'm not going to that planet. This planet I can sort of connect to. So when I went to, I went to graduate school, I went to Yale Drama School. Out of college, I applied to Yale Drama School this is a long story, which I won't tell you, but it is a total fluke. This is not false humility or anything. I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know that there was such a thing as a graduate program in theater. No idea. I had no idea. I was so clueless in college. Well, I'm still clueless, but I was so in a fog in those days. I knew I was in theater. I was a major. I was doing plays. I was in Portland, Maine by this point because I transferred. I had a great theater program at the University of Maine, and working a lot and in that academic setting. And in my senior years here, and I'm like, don't know what I'm gonna do because I have no plan. I never had a plan. And what was I gonna do? Was I gonna teach or was I gonna, well, I was lost. And a woman who graduated the year before me from that school in the theater program, she and I had done plays together and children's theater together there. She had gotten accepted to Yale Drama School. And her boyfriend, I shouldn't tell the story, it's too long. Just suffice to say, I literally...
The crowd wants it, Tony.
I'll try to truncate it, but it's a long story. Her boyfriend, who was in my class, hadn't graduated, he would go to visit her in New Haven. First of all, I didn't know where New Haven was. I didn't know where Yale was. I didn't know where Connecticut was. I don't know nothing. He goes and visits her, and he comes home one week, and he goes, Marianne loves it there. She thinks that would be a good place for you. Like, I have no idea what he's talking about. She applied to the Yale Drama School. She's a master's MFA program. Weeks go by. I think you should apply. Have you applied? Have you talked? Did you call them? Did you? Yeah. One week and he comes back. He brings me an application. I swear to God. He brings me an application. This was before you do it online and all that. 2 weeks later, have you filled out the application? Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. The deadline is coming. He comes to my apartment. I swear this is true. He's an angel, this guy. My angel. Comes to my apartment, sits down with me, and it's like one page. It's like, put your name. I literally had to he had to hold my hand, because I couldn't visualize it. I didn't know what he was even talking about. So he puts the thing, walks me to the mailbox, the whole thing. And then I got they sent me a date to come down to audition. Again, didn't know where New Haven was. And I got into the school. And it was just a total fluke. And
when you got in there, my son, Gabe, also went to Yale for theater in the bullshit undergrad program. Not the highfalutin master's program. Did your head spin around? Did they suddenly enlighten you into, was there a thing that you suddenly were learning that you thought, oh, I've never encountered this before, my God, my eyes.
There were a number of things that happened there. The first thing they did was, the first day, I'll never forget this, the first one that said it, there were like 15 or 16 of us chosen out of 800 or whatever. Now there are thousands of applicants. But then it was like, say they go all the way around the 4 different cities in the country and audition people, students. They said, you've been chosen from you're the elite, you're the Bubba, you're here at this very special thing. the second day, we come in, they go, "You don't know anything? Forget everything you've learned. Forget it. Erase it from your brain." So they were like, build you up, tear you down. And they started to, once they kind of beat all of your previous training out of you, they tried to, mold us. And because there was a sort of a program, I guess it was Stella Adler, basically. But it was very, very wonderful and challenging, and 3 years. It was a 3-year program. Beat to death. But
Was Stella there?
no, she was not there, but her one of her students was my first year teacher. So she. But the cool thing about Yale was, and it speaks to what you were talking about your techniques and how you were running your workshop, because Yale was not just one set program. On paper, it kind of was, but the truth was that it was more eclectic. For example, Robert Brustein, who was the dean of the school and the artistic director of the Yale Rep, who ran the program and brought everybody in, he loved that Stella Adler method, but he also was enamored of the Eastern Europeans and the Russians and the British, much more technical, the British, that sort of thing. So what we got was, we got a number of different approaches that you could sort of pick and choose from. One of my mentors and one of my teachers was you saw him in Big Night. He was a balding gentleman, and he was the patron who paid for his meals with paintings. His name was Andrei Belgrader. He was from Romania, and he passed away a few years ago. But he was a teacher of mine, and he was a contemporary of Andrei Serban, right? And Serban was with us too. And so this was a whole different approach, but all of them were kind of eye-opening. Lee Brewer from, very avant-garde School of Theater in New York, Mabu Mines. Even he came up to teach. And so there was a lot of input. It wasn't necessarily contradictory, but it was kind of cumulative in a way. If the students were open to it, some weren't. Some were like, I don't like that avant-garde. I don't like that Eastern European. Right. They would reject it. Whereas I was too obedient or something. I was too scared. So I was chicken. So I just well, whatever. I mean, if it works, okay, I'll try it. Try anything. Wow. And it was just nice because Stanley actually worked with Andre. He directed Stanley in a play off Broadway. And we both loved Andre, and so he brought him into the movie.
Ah. So I know, I think I know that one of the early opportunities that you had is you did several years, maybe 5 years with American Rep?
Four seasons, the American Repertory Theater. Well, that's because Brustein left Yale after his tenure there, and he started the American Repertory Theater in Cambridge. I knew where that was. And,
heard of Harvard, never heard of Yale.
Yeah. That's right. So yeah, he started the ART, as he called it, and it was my first real professional job.
Right, and that's what I was pointing to, because that is that curious jump that most actors never find success in. It's that jump from I'm a student to I'm a working professional. They can keep working in sort of amateur or community or lower level stuff that isn't necessarily career building. But that jump was a huge gift, right?
It was a gift. It was a gift because the truth is, some of my classmates wanted to go right to New York. And they did go, but I couldn't go right to New York. I mean, first of all, I had no money. I was in debt from school, not like today's debt, but enough at the time, for me, it was a lot. Undergrad and graduate school debt. And I was being offered a 10-month job in a regional theater, which by the guy who had brought me up through the first 2 years of my training. So it was kind of almost like a continuation of the program. He brought up designers and directors and playwrights and actors that I was familiar with. And now, instead of paying to do it, I get a paycheck, a small paycheck. You know, we're talking 1980. So I started at $300 a week. And I was like, yes, I made it. I mean, people always ask me, when did you feel you had made, your success really came around? That was it. I was like, I'm doing this, and they're actually giving me a paycheck.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the venue. Plus, forget the money, I'm working with like great people, world-class directors. The New York Times, they would come up to, review the things, and New York actors were brought in to do work with the company. So that meant that agents were coming up to see their clients, which meant that they were seeing it was a lot of positives to this.
Yeah.
Plus, I got to tell you, not to trash talk New Haven, Connecticut, but going from 3 years in New Haven to Cambridge was, oh my God, it was great. Boston, so great.
So what was, other than the opportunity at ART, what was the because I know you've done so much stuff, but was Big Night, was that like one of your first films? It was an early...
No. I had done a number of films before that. I had worked with the Coen Brothers before that, and
that was
Barton Fink.
Yeah.
And I had done a movie with Bill Murray before that called Quick Change.
That was the one that I tanked in my audition. That was terrible.
You-
One of my worst. He gave me direction. I didn't get it. I went all the way down to the street, realized what he was telling me, worked my way back in, came in, said, I said, please, you were telling me I didn't get it. Now I got it. Can I try it one more time? He said, sure. And I started, and I went, no, that's not it. And he was hysterical, but he didn't guess me.
Right. Well, all right. Well, just for the record, I have so little sympathy for that story because this man has I auditioned for so many jobs that he got. I'm not even going to, including Seinfeld's.
Yeah, you were up for Seinfeld, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's just one of many, many.
Yeah.
Oh, Jason got that? Oh, great.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for him.
So what was the one, if there was one, where you went, this is not gonna just be a career. This is gonna be, this is going in a direction even I couldn't have imagined.
Are you talking about a theater work?
No, I mean, for me, it was probably Pretty Woman, where I went. Yeah, because I had been living what I thought was my dream. I was working in New York, and I was making a living, and a good living, and I was doing exactly what I wanted to do, and I still had no fantasies about film or television. But then that movie got placed in my lap, and when it broke, I went, oh, this could break. Yeah. This career could suddenly be a significant career. What was that for you?
I would have to say that was Barton Fink. Not because Barton Fink was a big commercial success. I don't really know what those numbers were. But it went to Cannes, and it won the Palme d'Or, And I only knew the Coen Brothers. I had seen, a couple years before, I had seen Blood Simple. And I was like, oh my God, these guys are really going to change the landscape. And I would love to get in there. And then I'm not sure if Raising Arizona came out before, I don't know the chronology, but in any case, when I was doing that movie, I knew that they were poised to become rock stars. And so that was a big change. But Big Night was the one that really shifted before Big Night, I auditioned for movies. After Big Night, I didn't audition for a while.
Right.
Let's be, yeah, because you're,
Yeah.
but there was a stretch of time there where after Big Night came, I was like, would you join the cast? And I was like, oh my God. That's a moment where you feel like, okay, well, I've crossed over.
Yeah, across the river.
Yeah.
So that'll take us into this question I previewed for Tony yesterday because I wanted to make sure he was interested in talking about it. And this is something that's in our industry right now. It's a big question, but if you notice. So Tony is of Lebanese-American heritage. In Big Night, you play an Italian. In Wings, you played an Italian. In Maisel, you played a Jew. You cross ethnicities. Your wonderful face allows you to really convey a lot of ethnicities. I'm going to preface this by going, I don't have an issue with this, but there is a thing now in our industry where actors can't play anything they aren't.
Oh yeah,
For a non-Jew to go out and funny girl, that was a big controversy a little while back.
Well, we even got a lot of flack on Maisel. There were some heat because Rachel Brosnahan, who was the
Right.
lead,
Yep.
and Maren Hinkle, who played Rose, my wife. We aren't Jewish, and there was a lot of noise.
I bet.
About
So
that.
what is your response to it, your feeling about it? I mean, I do understand some of an authenticity of experience that can come with an actor who has lived experience in this arena or this role or this ethnicity or this sexuality or whatever it may be. But I also think talent is talent is talent is talent. But where are you on all this?
Well, I understand the idea that behind it, where because it's like everything with political correctness. It starts out with the germ of a good idea, and then it just gets taken to the extreme. I mean, sure, I understand the idea that I don't want to see. I'll give you like the broadest possible example. Like Mickey Rooney, doing the Asian thing.
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah, breakfast at Tiffany's. Okay, I mean, okay, so I get it. That's really, it's stereotypes. It's mockery. It's comedy. So that now you're slicing the ham real thin here, but So there's a point where I get it, where I don't want to see someone playing the lazy Mexican. I don't want to be that I get that. But for an act, look, we were trained. I'm sure you're too. The idea was to play characters or to go outside, not play yourself every frickin' time.
Right.
And especially in my training at Yale, it's like if you were doing anything close to yourself, you were getting slapped on the wrist. It's like you're not stretching, you're not taking a risk, you're not going outside your comfort zone. And that happened to me there, actually, where I did something that was easy for me, or what they considered easy. We don't want to see that. We want to see what you don't. We want to see what you don't know you can do. How's that? How about going out on that ledge and falling flat on your face? We love that. Really. I mean.
Yeah.
And that's where all the good stuff happens, by the way. All the growth happens, right? So I have to say it's a problem. I mean, I would have had no career if I had to play a Lebanese kid from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Not too many roles.
So,
Can you be the 9th of 10 children from Green Bay?
Yeah, right. I know. Well, I'm 66, and I always go, oh, you can't play 65. You're not going to take a role from a 65-year-old.
Yeah.
I hope this is correct, because this was a quote that I heard was attributable to you. You are noted as saying one time, "I'm impossible to direct. I couldn't get myself to do anything." Is that true? If it is true, why? But also, you're a director now as well.
Well, I directed a movie with my wife and my wife's sister. My wife's sister wrote this movie, and they asked me to direct. We were all in it, but they produced it, and they asked me to direct it. And so it was my first time directing. I guess if I, I probably shouldn't have been in the movie because, you know, unlike Stanley and Campbell, who really knew what they were doing, acting and directing, I was wearing one hat really well, but not two hats at a time, I guess. Yeah, I like it, that said, I like a director. I'm not one of those actors like, just leave me alone, don't tell me what to do. Like, tell me what to do. And if I don't like it,
So is this like the story of you falling and hitting your head? It's total bullshit.
Exactly.
It's just,
yeah.
Never said it, never.
Like many things in the press, it's taken out of context.
I get it. I want to, before I get, I'm going to spot into some of your bigger projects in a second and just, you know, get you to say one interesting thing about it. But I have two other things I want to ask you about because it affects a lot of our young filmmakers and actors. So there's a giant technology shift in our business in film and television. So technology has become a huge part of being a tool, but also being perhaps an obstacle, and especially with the advent of AI. Where do you sit with it? Are you concerned? Are you worried? Are you excited? Where are you with it all?
I'm concerned, and I'm grateful that I'm not starting out. I'll tell you that. On the other hand, I'm hopeful, somewhat hopeful, that, you know, we're entering a moment that's possibly comparable to when talkies came in, you know? I mean, there was a lot of upheaval and a lot of fear and a lot of pushback and a lot of lives, you know, destroyed. Because there was a seismic shift occurring. I'm hopeful that it opens opportunities. I'm fearful that it takes jobs away from a lot of people. And I'm not talking just about actors. I'm talking about, you know, scenic designers and art directors, and because you can do anything now with the push of a button.
Yeah.
So that's that worries me.
Are you worried about Tilly Norwood, the AI actress?
Yeah, I did see that.
I read the interview with her in the New York Times. With her, look at me. With it, with her. And it was, I found myself going, oh, she's really interesting. And
Is she more interesting than me? Just
no,
tell me.
she is not. She's a little more attractive, I'll give her that, but she's not more interesting. But it was a fascinating conversation between this interviewer and this, I don't know what to call it, entity, persona, you know, where it responds in a very organic, intelligent, experiential way, very human way. And I was like, what am I reading here? What is happening? So does the threat of the AI actor, is that a thing? Should we be concerned?
Well, no one knows where it's going exactly, and no one knows how fast it's going to get wherever it's going. So I'm hoping I'm dead before that. No.
Well, you know what? I'll blend that into the next question. So, given all that, we have a lot of young artists, both filmmakers, storytellers, actors. What do you say to the beginning artists now, the people who are starting their career, starting their journey, starting to put their work out? Do you have any? Here's how you do it, kid, or pat on the back, or advice.
Yeah, I'm not one to dispense advice. I mean, I try to distill it down into a few things. I try to tell them that to always keep in mind that you're working in a collaborative venture. Don't let your don't let your ego get in the way and destroy or jeopardize that collaborative spirit. Because some people want to just it's my vision. It's my thing. That's fine. But it really does take several villages to get this stuff to work. On the other hand, do I encourage people to generate their own stuff? Absolutely. Tell your own stories. Get your own, assemble your own team to do it. When it comes to actors, just talking to actors specifically, what I've come to, the only piece of advice is, it's not about you. That's what it took me many painful years to come to this notion. The business is constructed in such a way that to make you feel that it actually is about you. Because you're promoting yourself, you're using yourself, your instrument, whatever. But ultimately, I think that's destructive if you're only focused on that. You're part of a story, you're part of a team, and the story, unless it's autobiographical, it's not about you. And I think that's something that I would want people to carry with them. It's because and I say this in a way, not to, not to slap you down and say, stay humble. It's beyond that. It's more about, it's more about self-care, really. It's, you know what I mean? It's like, take the pressure off yourself, really. Embrace the whole, and understand that you're just one small part of a larger story. Was that a good time to go eat?
Yeah. I want to give you some time, so I'm gonna ask Tony about 5 things he's been a part of that you all know about, and just give us one little comment or anecdote or whatever you want about anyone. I've had the great good luck of working with this man a couple of times on Monk and Maisel, and so if I said Galaxy Quest.
The most fun, the most wonderful feeling on the set. We just had a blast doing that. It was a terrific cast. It had the brilliant Alan Rickman, the late great Alan Rickman, and many others. And I would say that was one of the highlights.
Monk.
Well, Monk was a game changer in a number of ways because I was fortunate enough to be, I talked them into making me an executive producer. So I learned other things while doing Monk. I was involved in casting, I was involved in editing. I learned a lot doing that. To see the production from other different angles. And so I would say Monk, it was an education, in one word.
Your Tony Award-winning turn in the band's Visit.
White-knuckling it the entire time. Never done a musical before, not a singer, working with ridiculously talented musicians and singer, actor, and some did all 3. And I was terrified. But thanks to my wife, Brooke, who is here, because I didn't want to do it. I was pushing. They asked me to do it. I said no. They asked me again. I said, this went on for five times. I said, no. She said, you should really do this. It'd be great for you to do this. So we started it off Broadway in a small theater downtown. And I did it, and I was like, okay, I didn't die. My eyeballs didn't fall out. it ended. 6 months later, they said, it's moving to Broadway. And I was like, I'm good, I did it. I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that again. I got it, it was fun. I escaped with my ass intact. And my wife's like, you gotta do it. It's Broadway. It's a great show. Do it.
I think we've learned, we listened to, in my case, Dana Tidal, and in your case, Brooke Adams.
Yes.
If they say do it, you do it.
If
they
that's
say
one
no,
other
no.
thing. That's one other thing I would add. I would tell young people, get lucky, and call my wife. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
ask her what to do.
I'll ask you about one more because it's the latest on the list. Maisel?
What can I say? Maisel was the best job I think I ever had. Out of a lot of great experiences, I miss it every day. It was beyond the beyond. Such a great team of writers, and I love that working in that period. So I feel like I fit well into that period because I was a kid during those years. So I have great memories of my dad and my parents and all that. So yeah, I've been lucky way too many times.
Before I turn it over to them, I'll ask you about one more, and you can hold up your book and go. I'll ask you about collaborating with family on your
yes.
book.
Just happen to have a copy here. So my daughter, Josie, who's I hope here with me, we co-wrote a book. It's a book about it's about my family and the reunions that we've been having for the last 50-odd years. And it's got some family recipes in it. And it's called We Thought They'd Never Leave. Musings on Food and Family by Tony Shalhoub and Josie Adams, my daughter. And it's coming out in late October, but you can pre-order it on Amazon. And if everyone in this room pre-ordered 5 copies, no,
Suitable for
that would
holiday
really help
gifts.
me and Josie.
That's fantastic. So we have about 10 or 15 minutes. Let's turn the questions over to any of you that are burning to ask Mr. Shalhoub a thing. I'm going to start down here because it's easy to see. Yes, ma'am?
Hold on, wait for a mic.
Oh, we have a microphone coming for you. Orange shirt to orange shirt.
Sure. Tony, I'll be quick. I absolutely adore you. I followed your career, so much of your work. And
Is
I
that
just
you?
think you're fantastic. But here's the thing. And I even have to tell you, and I do have a question. The last thing I saw you do was breaking bread on CNN. Thanks to you, you've inspired me to make bread. I never thought I would. I've gained about 10 pounds, but I've got you to thank for all of that. And I love it, But
Happy to help.
Yes, but in all seriousness, my question to you is, it's kind of twofold. What's next for you, and what do you wish you did creatively that you didn't do, and are you planning to do it? What's next?
Okay, well, what's next is, I don't know if I mentioned this book. So my daughter and I, after that, I've been working on a couple of sort of recurring few episodes of a couple of series. One called American Classic with Kevin Kline and Laura Linney on MGM Plus, and then one called Einstein, which the monk writer Andy Breckman wrote about a great-great-grandson of Albert Einstein. So I've been doing those two, and what do I regret not doing? I'll tell you one thing I wish that I had done. I wish that I had directed. I wish I'd done what Jason did, which he directs. He learned to direct and TV and theater, and I haven't done that. And I could have done it on Monk. It would have been a little challenging, but I could have directed. I could have directed. I could have worked with our main director, Randy Zisk, and with him at my side. And I kind of regret not doing that. It was fear. It's so much. That's the other thing. Other bit of advice is there's just so much fear to overcome in this business and in this work. And it's okay to feel afraid. You just have to get over it and do what you're most afraid of. That's one thing I would like to still do.
I have one over here. There's a question over here.
Oh, Tony, I just big fan of both of yours, by the way. Honored to be here and watch you guys. I'm also a big fan of your wife, Brooke Adams, Tony, and I was just curious. Do you guys rehearse together? Do you, like, when you get a role or she gets a role, do you guys kind of like map it out together and like rehearse and run lines together? Like,
Oh,
is there a
sure.
process?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we. I mean, we try not to direct each other. That's hard for me, but yeah, we've met doing a play on Broadway, and we've worked together a number of times. Brooke was on Wings. We've done films together. She did 5 different characters on Monk. I think we're pretty good collaborators.
The gentleman in the shirt, yeah.
Thank you both. So you're from the Midwest, and you guys are notoriously nice there. In New Jersey, we have slightly the opposite stereotype. So I was
Shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to fucking meet you too.
Yeah, you fool.
No, but so I'm just curious as to your thoughts on you're in New Jersey for a couple of days. Just your thoughts on us and our stereotype. Jason, you're from New Jersey. I'm just curious as to the experience that you have with Long Beach Island. And I don't know if you know this, but we have a couple houses that are like 50 years old, like 2-bedroom, 2-house for 2-bedroom, 2-bath for like $5 to $10 million. That would probably be in your range if you want to be one of us one of these days. So we would love to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate
Yeah, I'll take you up on that. I love being here. I've been a lot. Traveled around New Jersey quite a bit. My daughter lives in New Jersey, but I've never been to Long Beach Island before. So this is a treat for us. First time. It's something else, and no one has treated me poorly or come up and
Your time is coming, Tony. Your time is coming. You're down the shore now, so you know.
But everyone's been very hospitable. Yeah, but thank you for.
We can do one or two more.
We've got
people with microphones.
Yes,
find
we've got one over here.
Hi, love you guys both. Question for you: for Monk, how did you prepare to act as somebody with OCD or obsessive compulsive disorder? And I have a 2-part question, but that was the first part. And my second question is, what's your favorite Seinfeld episode?
Tony's favorite Seinfeld episode?
Mine or his? My favorite Seinfeld or his favorite? Mine? Oh. Well, mine is Master of Your Domain. That's so genius. To answer your first question, which I can no longer remember. Oh yeah, Monk.
Yeah, OCD.
Oh boy, my memory's gone. Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of help going into that role. The director that I wrangled to do the pilot was Dean Pariseau, and he had directed me in Galaxy Quest a couple of years before. And I begged him to do the pilot because I knew Galaxy Quest was tricky on the page. It could have gone very differently with a different director. Could have gotten very sillier and lacked a certain amount of heart, which Dean, I thought, he just knocked it out of the park. And so when I read Monk, I felt it needed that hand, that kind of deft, careful hand, and he agreed. And coincidentally, he was working on a movie about a character that had obsessive compulsive disorder, but that movie got either shelved or it got put on the back burner. It got delayed, but luckily he had done all of this research for the months, prior to this. And so he and I did, he gave me some of the material that he'd been working with, videotapes of various people. He had the name of a therapist, a psychiatrist who dealt exclusively with obsessive compulsive disorder patients. And they set up a session for me, and he was incredibly helpful. But mostly, my wife will attest to this. Mostly it was just me. It was a lot of, as I started to drill down into the disorder, I realized that I was suffering from that disorder. And in a way, it was so part of in the performing of it, in the early going, in the first few episodes of the first season, it was really a matter of uncorking the bottle, in a sense that we all have certain compulsions. I'm speaking for all of us in the room. Just me. I have certain compulsions, but we control them, and we in social situations, and we squelch an impulse here or there. And for me, for Monk, it was just releasing that and letting every little impulse or thought that came into my brain, just act on it. You want to touch that lamp? Touch that lamp. You want to brush that thing off of that person? Just do it. Don't filter yourself. Don't control yourself. So I just let it out. I unleashed it. And it was, it was freeing, and then we were able to find a lot of things. Some of them were scripted, and some of them were just happy accidents, things that would just appear on whatever location we were in or whatever set we were on. There were just fun things to work with. And so basically that was the whole, kind of gave away the star there, didn't I?
I was going to do one more, but I know we have a hard out at 5:45 and we're a little past, so forgive me. But I'll tell you outside. I want to, on behalf of my friends here at Long Beach Island and everybody here, what is really lovely to be able to talk to my buddy here, but to present to you, there are some stellar careers in our business. This is one of the most stellar careers I know. It is one of the most wide-ranging, longest, but the thing that if you talk to anyone in our industry who has ever had the pleasure and the honor to work with this man, they'll talk about his talent and they'll talk about the environment that he creates on a set and what a pleasure it is to be able to work there. But it is because he may be one of the kindest, most decent, most considerate, and just joyful people to work with ever.
Thank you,
and
Jason.
I'm so happy you got to meet Tony Shalhoub.
Thank you, Jason. Just like I wrote it. Thank you so much.
He stepped down into the crowd.
Good job.
Thanks, love.
Yeah, of course. It's so nice to know you a little bit.
You too. Stay in touch. You got the email.
I do have the email. I'll send you my